Well, my name is William Hammonds here in San Francisco, and it's certainly a pleasure to have a few moments with you. The young prodigy, artist, author, the youngest environmental and sustainable scientist in the country. Did I get it right?
I I think so.
Miss Dorothy Jean Tillman.
You know, you
What?
left out a couple things.
Oh,
I was the
I'm gonna
first
let
person on Jupiter. You just forgot.
go ahead. I'm gonna let you
I'm
tell
just
it
I'm just
all.
messing with you.
I'm just giving a little teaser so they can get to the good part. Okay. So you got a whole lot of stuff going on. First of all, let me congratulate you for being a fine example of what young people can do and the possibilities within. And I know you have a book to talk about the genius within, and we'll talk a little bit about that. But tell us a little bit about yourself. How is it that at age 10 you were able to enroll in College of Lake County and graduated with a associate's degree, and then go on at age 12 to earn a bachelor's degree from Stanford? You would attend Stanford and BYU distance learning, and then at 14 a master's degree. I mean, how is all that possible from a young lady such as yourself?
A lot of hard work, a lot
A lot
of
of,
communication. Just taking my time to set up my own schedule, and to be comfortable with how my everyday life was, and just work. Honestly, just so much hard work. And from a very young age, I had been in a lot of gifted programs in schools, and so that accelerated me to at a certain age, I wasn't enjoying school anymore. And when I told my mom that,
hmm,
she really didn't keep me in for much longer, and then we kind of went all the way to online,
mhm.
and I finished with my high school program, and I got my associates, and then bachelor's and master's.
Wow. So, what was it that you didn't like about school?
I didn't like the everyday like regulations. Like a lot of time I would get home and I would be so tired, and then I would have a bunch of homework that didn't make any sense. That would be so stressful. I didn't really like the social dynamic. I didn't like the idea of cliques and things like that. And I didn't really enjoy how the teachers kind of were. They were very like mean at times. Like every teacher wasn't, there for their students and things like that. And so those are kind of just like some of the things that kind of got to me about school.
And so you told your mother, and what was her reaction?
She kind of just she was there to understand. And so she took her time to think and be like, okay, so what is a plan of action we could take? And then she decided that we were going to start doing the online, and then I went with it.
Wow. What and then what did it do in terms of your education and your zest for education, being that you were, I guess, kind of arranging your own schedule and program within the house, and I guess now everybody is kind of distance learning now, so you kind of ahead of the curve. How was that different than, in the classroom?
Being online, I got to control my own schedule, because honestly, what I feel bad about for the students now is it's still the same. They're still under all these other rules that they can't control, but all of my courses and modules in front of me. And so I would be like, okay, well, I want us to be up at this time. And I never did my classes in the house ever. Um, I always made sure that we went out somewhere, to a coffee shop, to a park. A lot of the times we would like go out to different like museums and stuff as like makeshift field trips, and like make sure we stayed outside and out and about, being that my degree has like a facet in the environment. And I got to make my own schedule, and I got to say, okay, well, I want to work from 6 to 12, and then I want to go home and I want to go to sleep. And then I want to work these days of the week, and or this Sunday I want to work and I want to get this work done. And that really helped me along, because a lot of the college programs were pace yourself. Like they were like, okay, you have this class and they'll give you like 3 credit hours from January to March or so. And so then I would decide I want to get it all done in January and February, so
Mm.
that I didn't have that class to worry about anymore. And so those are things that I wouldn't get to control anywhere else. And I needed that to be able to like give my best in school.
Indeed. So your zest for education, Where did that come from, and what does it take to do what you did?
Honestly, a lot of it came from my grandmother. She rooted me in that, like, excelling in academics because that's how my mom was raised, and that's just passed down onto me. Especially since I'm around my granny a lot. She's like, okay, like, she fought with Dr. King in the civil rights movement. And one thing that she made sure that I knew is that he made sure they always had an education and that they went to college and that they went to school even when they were teenagers. And so she kind of just like brought me up in that like idealism of academically excelling.
Indeed. And now that's propelled you into a master's degree at 14 years of age. I mean, that's incredible. I tell people this, and I've been bragging about you for quite a while, as soon as I learned about your story. And, folks kind of don't believe me, but, here you are. And my question is, everybody hears about all the negative activities that are taking place, particularly in Chicago, a lot of shootings and killings and all these different things in the community. How is it that you were able to navigate away from that and stay focused on what you had in mind?
Because I'm not, I mean, I'm not like ducking and dodging bullets. Like, it's not a war zone. It's a choice. It's a choice to stay away from that. I don't believe in getting mixed up in the wrong crowd. I don't believe in peer pressure. That's not me, and I'm not saying it's not a thing that can't happen, because it's not like I don't face like the internal battle of, okay, well, what's going to make me run with this or that crew. But everything I have been brought up in is like the crews I want to run with is like, okay, how can I get in good with the good like dance clique? Or how can I get in good with the best actors in the theater? My family owns a theater, and I was brought up in the arts and acting. Any form and set of the arts I have like tried, or I still do it. And so the whole like part of that was off the streets on the stage, like getting kids in good like mindsets. And I've been doing that since I was a baby, and so that's the only thing I've ever wanted to do. I've never been able to get like into bad things or bad stuff. A lot of kids are in school with people that aren't doing, the ideal things that kids should be doing. And so obviously they see all that, and I don't even have those, things like around me. And so I have a very different situation than other people when it comes to that. But personally for me, I just don't see myself wanting to be around that type of thing.
And good for you for having that type of attitude. So now you've got a lot of stuff going on. You've published a book, more than one, in fact. Yeah, is this the latest one, Unlock the Genius Within?
Yes, that is my book. It's coming out early next year.
Talk about that book a little bit and tell us what's involved in it.
So, Unlock the Genius Within is kind of like a compilation of different, like, little sets of stories or pieces of advice from a bunch of different people that I have found to be influential or very, like, progressive, all in, like, one book. And so that isn't like what people would let, that's not like the book of me. It's not an
Hmm.
biography. It's not like a how I did what I did. It's not like a tutorial to be, me. It's more so like a inspirational self-help book to kind of help teens keep going. I try to like have it be very like enough so a lot of people can read it and be like, okay, I can take something from this. But it's more so like a compilation of things that I would think would help other people versus like a my story type of thing.
Indeed. Now, one of your beliefs is that there's always room to learn. What are you going to do now? You've got a master's degree. What are your plans moving forward? I'm sure you're still learning. Are you looking at the doctors? What's your plan?
So with my company, the Dorothy Jean STEM Academic Institute, over the summer we had a camp that was 10 weeks long, and we were corona free, and we found a way to do the whole thing, being very like educational, and like introducing kids and teens to things that they normally wouldn't get introduced to. And so I want to, like, next for me is I'm still like kind of finishing up on my book, but I'm also working on a second part of the camp for next, like for this upcoming like fall and winter season. Um, and so that also is gonna like encompass the kids who like have to do Zoom, and so they still have like, so because we did it with a bunch of educational field trips over the summer. I don't know if I mentioned it, but it was like Corona free. And we are trying to do that again, but helping like kind of giving kids like full day around tutoring so that they're not teaching themselves, but also having them be able to social distance and still have social experience.
Indeed. Now, for folks who are not in Chicago, are they able to enroll in your program?
So the full program, a lot of the like the majority of the program is in person, and it is for kids here. But I am like along the way putting together like kind of like academic bundles of like different videos and such of me like doing things to help enrich kids where they're like just like, okay, you can go on, click this thing, have your mom like buy you this thing from like the store on my website. And so now you could watch this video about learning how to do this project or that project. And so that would be the kind of thing that I have that's up there for everybody. But for the most part, no, the camp is like mostly in person.
Now, you've been selected to participate in Chicago's Future Funders program by the Brad Keywell, CEO of Groupon. What is that program all about, and what are you going to be doing within that?
So Future Founders was an incredible program for me to do with my, time, because I literally, to keep me social from a very young age, before I even started doing school online, I would always be in a bunch of different STEM programs, which is kind of what made me so well versed in it before I started studying it. And so Future Founders it was a one-time program. And I think that's great to give like new students a chance to come in and like come every single year. So I did it once. I did it about like 2 or so years ago. And so it was a week-long program where we were put in teams and we had to come up with a entrepreneur idea as a team. And so that kind of just like helped me in with like experience. It was kind of like a program that very much so helped me with working with other people, learning how to take their ideas into account, and put my own ideas in. And so it's a group thing, while still being very like academically progressive and such. And so my group came up with the app idea to like help teens find jobs and things like that. And so it kind of just like helped me learn more about what I already wanted to do.
Now, being 14 and younger and studying this hard, being this focused on your academics, does it take away from your being a young child or a young kid that wants to do the things that kids want to do?
Honestly, from a young age, me have being in like so many different like programs, I had always had social experiences, but I have like a reoccurring group because I'm part of the Happiness Club, and it's a dance group based in like Chicago. And so since I've been in that dance group, I've had like a constant like sense of like community and like friends and such, while still being very like active and like learning a lot about being a dancer. I've been acting in my family's theater from a very young age, and so even though I don't like have like school friends and things like that, I've been in a lot of different arts programs and things that help me with like the social vested and like not detaching myself from like my childhood.
Indeed. So now, with your acting, are you looking to go further in acting and do some professional, maybe movies or anything like that?
Honestly, I kind of wouldn't say like it would be like acting. I love the idea of doing things that are like podcasts. That's like something that I really want to do. So I wouldn't say like that act like it's acting. It's more so like talk and radio and things like that. Because that's something that I would like to believe that I'm good at. But I don't know. I kind of just go wherever the wind takes me. I've tried to be well versed in like so many things that I have a lot of choices.
Now you've been on couple of interviews, news programs. Are you beginning to develop your speaker circuit, so to speak?
Honestly, from a young age, like my mom has put me like on a stage and be like, okay, you got to say this poem, you got to read this, you got to introduce this person. And so I've been having like a lot of practice. And I actually took like a public speaking class. And that actually helped a lot. And then like, yeah, I was like doing a lot of interviews and such, and I kind of was like pretty good at it.
So are you looking forward to meeting Oprah Winfrey?
Yeah, I think Oprah's looking forward to meet me. I'd like to think that I'm just messing with you, but honestly, I'm I don't know if I'm an Oprah person per se. Um, I honestly, when it comes to like things like talk shows and such, I don't even find myself watching them a lot, which is crazy because I love like celebrity culture and such. But I don't like make time for them. Like being like a kid of today, if it's not like on my phone, I will not look at it.
So, if you were to design a program, talk show, what would that look like, and what kind of guests and information would you be sharing?
Honestly, it would be like current events and like topics with like youth and things like that, things that I found interesting throughout the day, different stories and answering people's like questions or things like that. Just I could talk about any one subject for hours. Even if I'm not completely well versed in it, I'll be like, well, this is my opinion on this, or I can look up this, or I try to like always find something in any situation to like talk about. And so it would probably be like a lot of like current events and things like that.
So, let me ask you some suggestions for parents in terms of how to motivate their child to want to learn and move them into this type of idea of accelerating their education. What would you give advice to parents and also young people like yourself in terms of motivating them toward education?
Honestly, my advice for parents is like it kind of like goes double on with the parents and the kids. For the kids, it's your life. It is not theirs to control. And a lot of parents have a problem with that because at the end of the day, they made you and they think it's their job to make sure you're on the right path. But a lot of parents tend to blur the line with instruction and control. And so it's not on the kid if they get frustrated with their parents not being understanding. And so that goes with like parents having to be understanding and having to take time and listen because it's not your life, it's your child's. And so at the end of the day, if you want your child to do it, but they don't want to do what I did, they don't have to do it because it's their life. But if you think that if it really doesn't matter to them and you think that it would help them along, be there to listen to the suggestions and the things that they want to do with it, because then they'll resent it if they aren't enjoying it. And if it's something that they full on want to do and you're not completely sure about it as a parent, take your time and instead of like shutting it down, just see about it and talk to your child about why you would be saying, oh, let's do this or let's not do that. And make sure like your communication is as best as it could be.
Interesting. And then for the youth themselves, motivating them to be more interested in their education.
Could you repeat yourself?
Yeah, for young people themselves, you know, how to motivate them in their education.
Honestly, just try to find, even if it's not what you want to do, like look to the future and be like, okay, is this going to help me in the future? Is this going to get me where I eventually want to be? If you can't focus on the right now, like focus on what's next or how you're like working on this to get to where you want to be. Because that kind of helps keep me like focused and things like that. And if you kind of just feel out of it, maybe you should like find a way to set up your schedule different or control something different or make a change in the way that you live your everyday life, because at the end of the day it is your life, and if you aren't feeling 100% with it, it kind of just is like you got to take time, like sit back and look at it and be like, okay, so how can I fix whatever the problem or stress is here?
Now, we're in 2020. Obviously, I'm not having a mask. You aren't either. But this is a different year, different era. I'm just curious about your thoughts about the things that are taking place. You're not old enough to vote, but I'm sure you have some strong concerns about what's taking place in this country right now with the Black Lives Matter, presidential elections, all these different things, coronavirus. Just give me some thoughts from your perspective on all this.
I honestly think that with a lot of it, it all encompasses having us have to work together. So, say with all of the movements, young people are who's going to make the change because they're making the change for themselves. This is about them at the end of the day because we're the ones who are going to keep living. But older generations find it harder to work with younger generations because they think they're so stuck in their ways. So they come right out the gate very hostile, extremely hostile. And so it's just hard for young people to work with them and to make time to listen to them. Because at the end of the day, there is no instruction manual to change. So you have to work together and figure it out yourselves. And so the divide and like generation is kind of like a large problem with all of that. And I would say like when it comes to things like corona, it's similar in the sense that a lot of young people at first weren't taking it seriously, but now they are, and a lot of older people aren't being very understanding of it completely. Just because like have conspiracies about it, or they don't believe it, or they don't care about this or that. It's like they're, oh, I don't have to wear a mask all the time, and they just find so many points of contention because people in older generations are so non-understanding, and people in younger generations don't like to tolerate like ignorance. And so it's just a large divide that I find is the problem.
Indeed. Now, let me just a couple more questions before we get out. Um, I see you are a alum of the Golden Eagle Aviation Legacy Flight Academy, based in Tuskegee at the Moton Field and the home of the Tuskegee Airmen. So you're a pilot.
Uh, so not like I do not have my pilot's license yet. I have to like definitely get back out there and start flying again, because it was a really fun experience to be in that camp. And it's honestly kind of crazy to like tell people, oh, like, yeah, I know how to fly planes. But it's like kind of my plan to like get back out there and start working on that again. But yeah.
Indeed. So again, my guest is Miss Dorothy Jean Tillman. And are you 14 or 15 now?
14.
14 years old, holding a master's degree, which I think less than a third of the country have master's degrees, right?
I should look that up.
It's a it's a small number. You'd be surprised. But at 14 years old, you are an amazing young lady. There's so many people that are speaking highly of you now, and a lot of people that don't know about you. And I'm going to raise that bar as much as I can because you are the type of young lady that we need to promote and hold to the highest pedestal and say, this is an example of what's possible. And you make us so proud to do what you're doing and be so motivated and concerned. And particularly, you're moving forward in the STEM um, arena, I mean, and working with young people and developing their education. It's just so, I mean, fabulous. I can't say enough about how proud you make us. And I really appreciate you giving us some of your time uh, to share your life and experience. And we're looking forward to a lot of good things coming from you moving forward. Are you going to be traveling out here to the West Coast?
Could you say it one more time? I'm sorry.
Are you going to be traveling here to the West Coast? I'm in California.
I don't know. Y'all got a lot of natural disaster going on over there. I gotta play my cards right before I come down there.
Okay. Well, we'll make some kind of arrangement for you. Maybe it'll be a distance or something like that. But I've got a few folks that got some things going on that would definitely be interested in hearing from you. A young lady All Access Academy, African-American woman who started an online academy here, and I mentioned you to her. So she'd definitely be interested in talking with you. And has an accelerated education program teaching young people how to have their degrees at early an age and running parallel with their high school degrees and such. So her and amongst many others, even the pastor this morning when he called me, I told him, I'm getting ready for an interview with Dorothy Jean. She's a master's, she has a master's degree at 14. He says, what? We want to talk about her at church next week. So I just want to thank you, and I want to, your parents and grandparents, and they've done their job and raised an incredible young lady. So what would you like to add in closing that you want people to know and or do?
I honestly want people to just like take from my story that like hard work and communication gets you a lot of places. And that everything isn't going to be cookie cutter and normal and, you know, just on a straight line. And so you got to like go with the flow and like roll with the punches.
Indeed. All right, we're going to go with the flow and roll with the punches and follow your lead, young lady. And I'll send you a copy of this so you can have it for your records and everything. And then we'll be in touch. And again, there's a Black Women's Conference coming up in a couple of weeks. They might be interested in hearing from you. So I'll put the word out that you're available. All right. Thank you so much. We appreciate you and
thank
your
you for
time.
having me.
Absolutely.
Okay.
All right.
Have a nice day.
Have a great day. Peace.
All right. You too.
There she is, the one and only Dorothy Jean Tillman, 14 years old, holding a master's degree. Do you have one? All right. Thank you so much. See you next time.